Hello, beautiful people. It's a new year, it's a new day, new goals, new achievements, and that's really what I wanted to talk to you guys about. If you ask anyone, well, what are your plans for the new year, or what are your goals for the new year, or what do you see in your future for the next 6 months? The answer inevitably comes down to some version of, oh, I want to be happier, I want to have peace, I want more joy. Everyone says the same thing. So it seems that everyone's striving for this version of happiness, but at the same time we treat it like it's some sort of esoteric, like, oh, I don't really know what it is. We need to have some sort of special tools to access it. And that's simply not true. So what I want to talk about is happiness. So I think the first step in finding happiness is really defining what happiness means to you. I think that's the first step and the most important step, because we can't live our lives based off of the version that someone is presenting for us. We can't go on Instagram and see someone, with their boyfriend, their girlfriend, the kids, the nice house, the nice car, and say, oh, they look so happy, that's what I want. Because what you see isn't always what you get. And even beyond that, even if that is what it is, actual reality, it doesn't mean that having those things or doing those things is going to be appropriate for your life. We're all individuals, of course. We all have different views, thoughts, wants. So it will be pointless to define your version, define your happiness based off of someone else's version. That just makes no sense. So the first step and most important step is defining what happiness means to you. And then once you define what happiness means to you, it's about literally first thing is writing those steps down. Find out what those steps are and then putting them into play. So, for example, if my version of happiness that I see in my life is having a nice, fit, healthy body, that's something that's going to make me happy. Let's just use that as an example. Then the next step would obviously be, well, how are you going to make that happen? So first things first, I'm going to do cardio 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week. Then I'm going to do strength training for 30 minutes a day, 2 times a week. I'm going to adjust my dieting and cut out this amount of carbs and fats, or I'm no longer going to fry my food, I'm going to bake it instead. You take those literal practical steps that's going to get you to that version of happiness that you see for yourself. A lot of the times we say, oh, this is what I want in my life, or this is what I need in my life, and we do nothing about it, which is crazy because we have the power. We are creating our lives as we go along. So if that's a version of my happiness, well, what am I going to do? What are the steps I'm going to take to make that happen? It's really simple. I think it's important to really spend time with self and get to know self and, live life and experience life so you can find out what it is that you like, what it is that you don't like, what it is that you're willing to put up with and not put up with in your version of happiness. Now, when I say happiness, I don't want you guys to think that I'm just referring to pleasure, because that's not happiness, or that's a version of happiness, but that's not what I'm referring to. So, for example, say I'm eating, I love ice cream, if you guys don't know that. I love, love, love ice cream. It's amazing. So whenever I eat ice cream, it makes me feel great. I'm very, very happy in that moment. But that's very temporary. When I'm eating this cup of ice cream for 20 minutes or so, then after that, I'm back to my normal, regular state. So that's great. But what I'm referring to is something that's more along the lines of contentment and joy and satisfaction. A perfect example of that is school. I don't like to study. I don't want to read this crap. I don't want to memorize this crap. I don't want to read it back to you in class. I don't want to write this paper. I don't want to do any of that. That does not make me happy. It really does not. But I know that me completing school is going to make me happy because it's going to help me fulfill my purpose, which I feel is disseminating knowledge, which is bringing people together, which is building community. And I know that I need those tools and those credentials to further my purpose and further the vision that I see for my life and everyone else's lives. So that's something that I feel that I'm doing that doesn't make me happy, but I still find satisfaction out of it because I know it's towards a greater purpose and a greater goal, something that's greater than self. That's the version of happiness that I'm referring to. So that's exactly what I want you guys to do. This is the BLACC Challenge. I want you guys to define what happiness is to you. Literally, write it down. It would be amazing if you guys could, comment below on the videos, you do it on YouTube, the website, on Facebook, whatever, however you want to do it. write it down. And the purpose for writing it down is because when you write something, when you say something, when you speak it, you're putting those things into action. You're creating intent, creating intention. And whether you realize it or not, the universe responds to that. It really, really does. So writing it down is super, super important. So define what happiness is to you and write that down. And I want you guys to define 3 steps. Just tell me 3 steps that you're going to take to make that vision of happiness happen for you. That's the BLACC challenge. That's what I want you guys to do, because it's going to make a difference. It really, really is. So write it down, type it up on Facebook, YouTube, IamBlack.com, whatever it is that you guys want to do, however you want to do it. But do that. That's the BLACC challenge, and then we can discuss it.
Brothers, living, authentic, creating change.